Brexit betrayal: how John Major hid facts to tie UK to EU before 2016 referendum. Sir John Major was accused of hiding facts over the Maastricht Treaty, which transformed Britain's relationship with what we now know as the EU and sparked the first serious split within the Conservative Party, a split that still divides the party and country today. Theresa May will see her Brexit deal put to the sword today as MPs prepare for the so-called meaningful vote on her withdrawal agreement. Mrs May has called for politicians to back her deal or risk letting the British people down, but, despite this, it is widely expected to be defeated as Conservative MPs look set to join ranks with Labour and rebel against the government. It comes following 2 years after the British electorate's historic vote to leave the European Union in June 2016, but the rifts in Westminster we see today have been present since Sir John Major's time in Downing Street. In October 1992, the then Prime Minister was slammed over comments he made about Danish proposals on the controversial and fiercely opposed Maastricht Treaty. The treaty took almost a year to be ratified as Sir John battled with Labour and Conservative Eurosceptics to push it through. However, he was accused of misleading the country over a speech he made at Lancaster House that was intended to pave the way for a Commons vote on a resumption of ratification. In it, he claimed that the precursor to the EU was getting back on the path, and that Danish demands to water down the treaty would not present a problem. He added that the Danes would have to swallow their proposed amendments. However, a Foreign Office note delivered to Sir John a week before the speech was delivered claimed the Danish position was non-negotiable and unlikely to be acceptable as it stands to member states. As this news came to light, Jack Cunningham, Labour's Foreign Affairs spokesman at the time, said, "The Prime Minister is misleading the country and Parliament in his statements on the Danish document. His remarks lack honesty, because he must know from the Foreign Office that what he is saying is not the whole truth about the Danish position and its consequences for the treaty and the agreement of the other community members." Denmark wanted safeguards in 4 key areas: common currency, common defense, European citizenship and operations on immigration and crime. The Danes had 2 referendums on the treaty, with the first vote rejecting it and the second going through following the Edinburgh Agreement that granted the requested concessions. The Maastricht Treaty saw the European Community evolve into the European Union with 12 member states initially. It also laid down the groundwork for economic and monetary union with a single currency at its heart and new rules on inflation, debt and interest rate regulations. After a number of alterations and political maneuvering, it was finally ratified on November 1, 1993. The subsequent fallout with Eurosceptic Tories is widely regarded as being a key reason behind the Conservative Party's collapse ahead of the 1997 general election, and the wounds have never really healed. Sir John's decision to sign the treaty attracted criticism from Margaret Thatcher, who fiercely opposed the move. She said, "Our trust was not well-founded. We got our fingers burnt." The most silly thing to do when you get your fingers burnt is to bring forward a bigger and worse act, which is the equivalent of putting your head in the fire. Speaking months later in the House of Lords about Maastricht, she added, "I could never have signed this treaty." The party remains deeply divided on the issue, as can be seen by the bitter infighting during the 2016 EU referendum and subsequent high-profile resignations of David Cameron and George Osborne after Leave's victory. To this day, the Tories are bitterly split